So in 1962, US President John F. Kennedy promised to put someone on the moon by the end of the decade, and the Apollo 11 mission was basically the realization of that vision. What we're about to build here is the Lunar Lander from that Apollo 11 mission, which was the specific module that took Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to and from the moon before returning to Earth in the main command module that stayed in orbit throughout the mission. Should take us about 3 to 4 hours to complete, and let's go ahead and jump in. The lunar module from Apollo 11 was also known as Eagle, and is actually the origin for the phrase, "the Eagle has landed," which were words famously uttered by Neil Armstrong when they landed on the moon in 1969. What we were beginning to build out here is the lower half of the module, also known as the descent module, that was responsible for getting Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin out of orbit and safely onto the moon. In the red and white, you can see the fuel tanks as well as the oxidizer tanks that stored liquid oxygen for the engine to properly work in the vacuum of space. Next, you're seeing a lot of gold shiny pieces added that represent the foil on the actual lunar module you can see here that reflected heat and kept many critical parts of the module cool throughout the process. To finish the descent portion, we add the legs and landing pads that helped ensure a safe landing. Now we're starting on the upper half, or the ascent portion, that would eventually propel the two astronauts off of the moon and back into orbit where they could reconnect with the main command and service module before returning to Earth. It only had one engine that had to start to get home, and the risk of them not making it was so real that President Nixon had already prepared a speech just for that situation in case it happened. So we have finished the Lunar Lander. It took a little over 3 hours to complete the build. Just under 200 steps and about 4,000 images taken as part of the time lapse. There's one image taken every 3 seconds. As you saw throughout the build, incredible attention to detail by the LEGO design team. As you can see here in this video, several antennas on board for communication purposes back to Earth, as well as this component on top, which was actually the docking mechanism to reattach to the command and service module that was in orbit after they left the moon. The lunar module here, and again, here's an image of the actual lunar module from Apollo 11, weighed about 32,000 pounds. However, interestingly enough, the lower half actually stayed on the moon. So much of that weight stayed on the moon. The lower half, or this descent module, was really just a launching pad for this ascent module that took Neil Armstrong, fellow Purdue alum, and Buzz Aldrin off the moon and back into orbit on that command and service module. So really interesting. It was a super fun build. Loved learning a ton about it. Hope you did as well. I really appreciate you watching.